Hello everyone and welcome to our next tutorial. Today we are going to bring to you the 5 top tips that we use in the office. So these are kind of the most important ones that I've seen over time. It's the one that seem to come up over and over again, especially when we have new recruits in the office. I hope you enjoy them and I look forward to your feedback. So for now, let's just get cracking onto them. So the first step is actually to flip your canvas. Flipping your canvas is one of the most important things you can do. After working on something for so many hours, you tend to get tired. Your eyes tire, your brain starts to interpret things from the image and starts kind of filling the gaps. So when you flip your canvas, it helps renew this. It helps renew your eyesight. It is basically one of the first and biggest steps you can take when you're working on a visual. Now, as you can see on the screen, I've showed you how to flip it. So image rotation, flip canvas. Now, attention, what you can do, and that is really good, is, and for added flexibility, is to actually add a shortcut to it. One of the shortcuts that I tend to use, as this is one of the most important things, is F1. And if you just map out the shortcut like on screen, you'll find that this will help you immensely. Another great thing you can do is actually use R. So the R button will just rotate it. So for instance, as you can see, working on something that's basically symmetrical is quite difficult. So sometimes what I tend to do is basically rotate it the full way around, so it's 360 facing, and it does make it a lot easier and a lot more flexible to work with. So our next big tip is to black and white your canvas. Now, if you black and white your canvas, you will notice that you will actually understand the values of things. So you'll understand what's more at the front, what needs a bigger punch, how are your black and whites looking. Now, a great secret is to actually set this blend mode to color. So what does this do? It keeps exactly the same values, but it knocks out the colors. So if you don't put it to black and white mode, it basically pumps up a little bit of your blacks and whites and you don't get the exact values. No better way than to actually check it. Now, as you can see on screen, I've done a tutorial. I think it's creating atmosphere and depth, and it does touch a little bit on this. But as you can see on screen, just with some basic values, just to show you, I mean, this is very monocolor, and it shows you the importance of those values of what's in front is going to be darker and what's at the back will be more affected by that volume fog. And this is a really important thing, especially if you're doing an exterior. And as you can see, it's super important to understand, especially in the exterior, your values. Black and whiting is a really simple technique, but I find that it helps you so much. I mean, just one of the inspirations that we use here at the studio is a lot of concept art, as many of you know, and even thumbnailing in concept art. Our previous tutorial, even some architectural drawings, even Zaha's architectural drawings. I mean, a lot of these elements can be used in black and white, and we can really understand them. Just black and white your photos, start to understand the atmosphere, the depth. I mean, even on this recent trip that I did to the Middle East in Dubai, just so beautiful to understand that depth and what the haze is doing. And I find that black and white is essential to understand that, even picking the colors in Photoshop. So now let's get on to our third tip, and this time it's the Defringe tool. Now, most of you use the Defringe tool already, but I want to show a really cool trick that I learned the other day, and it helps a lot. So I've basically masked this out, and sometimes, as you do with the channels or something else, there are lots of masking tutorials online. I won't bother you with that. But what I've done is kind of extract this. Now what happens is you tend to get this kind of white fringe or this really weird stuff even when you use the wand tool. Now one quick way to get rid of that is to basically just go into your matting and defringe. Now what happens sometimes is you still get these white or blue artifacts or something. So if I wanted to add this to this image, you know, it's okay, but I still find that it's got these blue artifacts that I really want to get rid of. So one of the really cool things you can do is actually just go into your transparency layer, right here on the layer to lock the transparency, and you can actually sample or paint on the top. So I'm going to actually paint. So I'm going to sample that and I'm just going to paint over and get rid of the blue. Now this can be kind of it can be a bit tiring, so the best you don't want to go over it all the way, But what happens is if you have like a very bushy tree like this, you can get away with this by just clone stamping out. For instance, if I just grab it there or something. And what this does is actually paint on top. And you can imagine you can use this for quite a lot of things. So hopefully that's another one for you to pick up on. And so on to our fourth tip, and this time, take the time to compose your people. People are super important in visualizations. As you can see on screen, this one's an example where we have more of an outside view where I could even add a couple more people to compose this show a little better. But pay attention to how you're composing these people, where you're composing these people. Is this an environment where it's summer and everyone's outside? Try and get people that don't have coats and t-shirts mixed together so they don't have different times of season. I've been blamed for this one. I've done it in the past. You just get distracted sometimes. See how the people are reading in your scene. See that big circle. Where are they going in? Get some going in, leading the eye. Get some coming out. Get some activity. Have people that are stopped halfway. Have people that are advancing. These are things that are really important. I mean, we can even add people here in the left side where I'm just drawing. You know, we could add some people on stills. Have some activities. Add some interest. You'll see that if you really take that extra care with people, you really go into that next level. Also, take for instance this image. So as you can see, we've got more of a stillness in this one, something a little more soulful. So it's not just about, you know, let's have a ton of people and activate every space. Let's look at that connection that he has with the motorbike, the way he's composed on the rule of thirds, as is the motorbike, this connection. So people, they inhabit these surroundings, and I find most time that people is what gives the essence and the soul. Take for instance this one. I mean, it's adding to this soulfulness of this image, this solitude. That's the word I wanted, solitude of the image, and that's something that I wanted to express. And all this environment has. We have this desert, and we have this woman in the desert, and these are the types of things to pay attention to. I mean, I just watched Prometheus, I think, in this movie, and I was working on this shot. So this was just an inspired shot from, I believe, from Uniform at the Shard. And I decided, you know what will go with this sci-fi fiction type of view? This Prometheus guy. So I stuck this Prometheus guy. Again, about context. It's very important that you have the right context for all your people. So to sum things up, people are extremely important in any architectural visualization. Whether you're working on public spaces, if you're doing something that's a building foyer, take a little more care with people, the way you insert them, the way you compose them, where you're grabbing from, the type of lighting that they have, the detail that they have. If they're really low res, keep away, and really pay attention to how they integrate. Are they moving? Are they sitting? Are they standing? Are they talking to each other? These types of things will really take your visualizations to the next level. And on to our final and fifth quick tip. Now, I hate to say it, but it's references. It might be overused. It might be one of the things I've talked about quite a lot, but it is super important. Consider references as a sort of a roadmap, something that we have on the side. And now you've seen in all the tutorials, they're illustrating an interior plan. Everything that you've seen is somehow referenced off somewhere. So with time, you start to make a kind of a mood board in your head, and all these experiences you've had, they all come together. Now, another important thing is to also understand those references. So if you have a beautiful sunset and over a city, try and understand how the light impacts on those materials, how in the foreground it's what's happening in the foreground, what's happening in the background. If you have an interior, understand why the light is made in such a way, how it interacts, how it comes in. Not only light, but try and understand through other people's references. So what are painters referencing? What are they looking at? Try and look at all the different sources. The more solid your references are, and the more you know about what you're looking at, the better you will become. So this is a little bit about educating your eye, understanding things, and also understanding how light reacts, how color reacts, all these little things that come together and constitute a reference. And remember, there is a big difference between referencing and imitating. You do not want to copy absolutely someone else's work. You don't want to create an exact copy. I've done this kind of interesting exercises in the past, even when I did this the Tron images, and that was right in the beginning, somewhere in the beginning of my career. those were inspired by the Tron outfit in certain parts, yet probably copied. But I've always found that it is quite important not to make an exact copy. You're not bringing anything new. You're not really going for anything outside the box. And I find that the guys who are doing this are kind of already at the top. So what you want to do is inspire yourselves. Yes, create something based on what they've created, even if we're creating something. And I guess that's our final one. And so we've hit the end of our 5 tips. I'd just like to thank everyone who's supported our channel. It's fantastic. I say our because it's kind of a team effort with Archi9 Visualization, Archi9 Learn. Everyone loves it. The feedback is amazing from you guys. I really hope to see more of your stuff. I'm going to leave a couple of our user gallery items, and I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, see you on the next one. And I've got some interesting stuff coming up, so hopefully it's enjoyable, and this one's been enjoyable for you. For now, take it easy, and yeah, hashtag. Never forget the hashtag. Do it in post. See you guys later. Have fun.